Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NXT here. Obviously, with one of our usual suspects, which is Ed. How are you doing today, Ed?
I'm doing very well. Just enjoying this great main event right now.
Yeah, and today we have a special guest. We have Alex coming in with us. How are you, Alex?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here on this glorious NXT 2.0 Tuesday.
That was interesting. I should have seen that coming, but didn't. All right, I like that.
You're ahead of us.
Ashford will see it in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
I love that. Love it.
Yes.
I just pissed off the dog. Sorry. Whoopsie.
I was gonna say, what was that?
So I banged the table because I loved that finish, and I upset the dog.
Oh, does this mean Gargano hasn't renewed his contract? Dun, dun,
No
dun.
spoilers. No spoilers. I haven't seen the finish yet.
Oh, you're even more behind than I am.
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
Oh.
5, 4, 3, 2. No, okay.
Oh, that's not
Ooh.
it. That's not it.
I love where this is going.
This is still going. I love this. Sorry, we're continuing the power out tradition of, talking beforehand. But unfortunately, we're talking about things that you can't see because normally the main event's not this chaotic as the show ends.
So,
is it setting up the War Games now, I guess?
I don't think so, but maybe? Yes.
There's too many people, like too many singles people in the ring at the same time for my liking.
There's 4-on-4 right now.
So I just saw the finish of the match. There's only like Carmelo Hayes and Gargano in the ring, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
Oh, okay.
I forgot.
It's gonna
spoilers. Jeez.
Oh.
I haven't said any names. I just said there's a lot of people in the ring. That's all. I'm not giving you names.
Oh, he's back. This is gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be War Games with this person coming out.
Is it?
Big. Big.
We've already seen him tonight.
And yeah. Well, they haven't announced him in a match for the War Games, though.
No, but they implied it last week. All right. Well, I guess that will be War Games. There's 4 in there. Oh, I love this.
Is that old school versus new school?
New school. Yep. Old school, new school. I had a feeling earlier in the show, but didn't want to say it because I couldn't figure the 4th. But I love this. I just really hope Trick's not the 4th for the new school.
Why are you saying name? Alex is behind.
Yeah, we just got Daddy coming out.
Yes. Well, Trick has been out there the whole time, so it's not like Trick's a huge surprise. I mean, Trick's been ringside with Carmelo all night.
Yep.
Oh. There's the 4th for the new school. Okay.
Braun Breaker, let's go.
I haven't gone there yet. Wait. Giddy. Oh. See, so I told you. So there's that.
Sir, I don't care how much I love you and how much Spencer loves you. You're not William Regal. You're not allowed to say that. You're also not as cute as Io Shirai, so you don't get off saying it. Oh.
I guess I'm about 33 and a third seconds behind you guys.
I was thinking you're 166 and 2/3 seconds behind.
Oh.
Because I just had the show end.
The DIY tease.
All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and play the intro as Alex gets caught up, and then we'll go ahead and I'll be back with Astrid running the show tonight. So join us again in about 20 seconds. Oh, that's not the right button. That's it.
Okay, officially now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to NXT. Obviously, I have my usual Ed. Oh my God, I'm used to being on the bottom, so just like it's weird for me. And then we have Alex. Yeah.
Hello.
We've already got
So
Lawrence in the
obviously,
chat.
yeah. Thank you, Lawrence, for coming in. First of all, before we begin, just want to give a shout out to RK Athletics. Follow them on your favorite social media platforms, and as well as following Love Wrestling on your favorite platforms like Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're so close to having 1K, so please help us get there. We're hoping to get there by the end of the year. So please, 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 let's do that. And before, like we mentioned, our guest here, Alex. So I'm gonna pick on him first with our format as we usually go. So far from what we saw today, what was like your standout / favorite thing from the episode?
So I haven't seen much of NXT 2.0 since it began. I do believe I watched the last episode prior to the format change, and the first match of the night was oh my goodness, I already screwed up his name, forgot it. Tommaso Ciampa versus Greyson Waller, I believe that's what the name is. Thank you very much.
Yep.
It was a straight up great big opener, hot to start off, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing some new faces, and this is a great way to start this off. So that was my pick.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What do you think about it, Ed?
I loved it. I loved how they, and Alex said this in the chat a little bit too. I loved how they cut into the now, then, and forever promo. Like the kid has no respect. The kid doesn't care about veterans. The kid doesn't care about paying your due. Like, so to give a little bit of backstory, because Alex, like you said, you didn't watch last week. He cut a bit of a promo on a show called Lashing Out as part of NXT last week. And he talked about how I didn't have to spend 10 years in the bingo halls and the VFWs and the high school gyms. I was able to just go ahead and be on a reality show and send a video to Vince McMahon, and I had a job. And so he doesn't care about the old school ways, and that pissed off Tommaso Ciampa. So Ciampa says, fine, you want to talk about that? You want to be like that? You and me in the ring next week, and I'll beat some respect into you. Okay. And so how does he show his disrespect for even more? He comes out one before the show starts, no music, no nothing. And he interrupts all the legends in the Now, Then, and Forever promo. Again, just continuing that push of I hate veterans. This is a new way of doing things. All of those legends with The Rock and everybody else who's in those Then, Now, and Forevers. And he cuts them all off. And this kid went through the woodshed in this match from Tommaso Ciampa. Reminded me of Survivor Series and Austin Theory. Ciampa and him had an agreement. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make you earn your stripes. I'm going to give you everything I've got, and you're going to look fantastic, but you're going to earn every single welt on your body, and I'm going to make you hurt. And Greyson Waller held up his end of the bargain. He was fantastic in this match.
I do agree. Hey.
Hello, they're amazing. Yeah, I like how he mentioned The Rock and Roman right after each other as well in the promo. I thought that was good timing. Obviously, first The Rock with the anniversary that just passed the Survivor Series on Sunday. And then after that, mentioning Roman, like, you guys turned on him and look at, he's the head of the table now. Look at the difference of where they're at. And it's like interesting that you mentioned Cena, The Rock, and then Roman in that, particular order as he mentioned it. And yeah, I did like him interrupting that entrance, even though he said legends, but I said some of those people are still wrestling now. Like we had Becky at the moment when he was saying that. So I thought it was interesting that he's like not only talking about the legends, but people that are wrestling there at the moment too. So when I heard it, I was like, wait, is something wrong with my app this time around? So it took me a moment to figure it out. And I was like, wait, let me give it a moment. And then when he said, take it off, and I saw him in the ring, that's so it made me think, oh, we don't get no NXT theme song, not even his entrance theme song. He's just there from the beginning. I thought it was a good way for him to get attention, not only obviously like from us with the entrance, because we're used to hearing the entrance from WWE plus the NXT theme song, but also the audience, attention, getting it from the beginning, starting the show like this. And I did like their back and forth that him and Ciampa had. It was enjoyable. And it was one of those things like it's been happening with Nate lately. Is it was like old school versus new school. And I enjoyed that chemistry they had. So it made me excited. And then seeing everything with Knight attacking him backstage, I thought that was really well done. And how they went obviously through the show. everywhere, it seems like, backstage until heading up to the main event, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Ed, what was your standout to of everything you enjoyed?
So we just had the start of the show. Hell, screw it. Let's go to the end of the show because it's all tied together. So we have this wonderful triple threat match. And by the way, these three worked a triple threat match great. It didn't feel like that standard WWE style triple threat. Two guys work, one guy rolls to the outside. Yeah, it had that. All triple threat matches have to have that. But there was a lot more three-way spots going on. These guys are really innovative. They're really interested in making a match feel like it's a match where all three guys are angry at each other. And what a triple! Like I said, I mean, I'm a Hayes mark. I've been watching this guy, like I said, for 5 years on the Indies in New England. Christian Casanova can do no wrong in my book. He's in 5 months, he's gotten a championship, but he feels like he deserves it. He feels like a big deal. He won the breakout tournament. We're like, oh, the breakout tournament. Ho hum. It is what it is. But after going ahead and winning that breakout tournament, he's established himself as he calls himself, the A champion. When I think about champions in NXT, Tommaso Ciampa's the second or third on my list. I mean, we all know who's first. Mandy Rose.
How could you do that to Daddy Ciampa, though?
I can do it. That's fine. Daddy Ciampa falls right behind Carmelo Hayes, and both of them fall ways behind my Mandy. Because man, she's come out of nowhere for me. She's been fantastic, and we'll talk more about her later. But we have a couple friends from Tom Collahue stream with Sean Cena and Connor. So thank you guys for jumping over and joining us over here. But that main event was fantastic, and then the ending, not Trick Williams. Tony D'Angelo comes in after having said that he doesn't think that Pete Dunne is going to win, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of unusual. How would you know Pete Dunne's not going? That's how you know. He comes in, pulls him out of the ring. Hayes goes ahead and hits his leg drop, gets the 3 on Johnny Gargano. More to talk about with Johnny Gargano and his future coming up in a little bit. And then we go ahead and we get basically an all-out brawl. All kinds of people start spilling out. Grayson Waller and LA Knight come back out, and they keep fighting. Everybody's in the ring fighting. People coming in left, right, and center. And I thought you're right, Dara. I thought we weren't going to have a men's War Games match. But man, it just fell into place, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to be good. New school versus old school.
Yeah. How about you, Alex? How did you feel about that main event?
Well, I was a little behind, so I was kind of hearing you guys talk about it while I was trying to watch it. But I do like this kind of new school versus old school mentality that they're kind of bringing together for it. The triple threat itself was, we'll get to it later on, but it was very good. And that's probably the best thing about it being a 2-hour show is everything's very well, kept tight and very nicely packaged to have these nice matches and an entertaining show.
Yeah, I seen all the people in the ring made me think, I'm like, this is War Games coming up, but I figured there'll be there's people left over. And then once at the end, when they set up what it was happening, having the old school versus new school, that's gonna be amazing for me. I just like they said in the comments, I miss William Regal saying War Games. It's not the same when Braun says it. Sorry, but it'll be enjoyable to see these new guys get obviously do they have that experience with the old schooler guys. And I can imagine what that match is going to be like. So the only unfortunate thing is that we're not going to have an NXT championship match. But War Games is so good at just do we need a championship match with the both War Games matches going on? So it's understandable. So I'm excited for this one and the ladies match, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. So I love the ending, that's for sure.
Question here posed by Sean Cena in our chat. Where do we think William Regal's been? Because we haven't seen him in a while. I want to say the last time we saw him was Samoa Joe.
The stuff with Joe. Yeah.
He's off somewhere being the man's man. That's plain simple.
That's absolutely what it is.
Somewhere being the man's man.
He's probably honestly just taking the time to be able to go ahead and relax and recover. Maybe spend some time with family. I mean, he doesn't get to go back to England very often, so maybe he's back in England spending some time with family. We got other titles being. Do we? Other than the tag titles and the cruiserweight title, which we'll talk about.
We got hair.
Most
we
of
got hair
our
being
titles are
defended.
in War Games matches.
Yep.
Yeah.
I swear, Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
No, he's not old, but he's old school. He's that veteran, old school, and of course,
he has that experience of
Britain strong style. Yeah.
War
Games.
Yeah.
And the wordsmith dropping his idea that he's hanging out with his lizards.
Okay.
Oh,
so jumping back to you.
Sorry.
Oh, true. But wasn't Joe a little bit after that? I don't know if I'm. Oh, maybe no, it was afterwards.
A little bit before
yeah,
that,
that's
yeah.
weird.
Wasn't the
Yeah, the wedding like. It was after Joe, so it's just weird that it's been a couple of weeks now. Yeah. I don't know.
Pete Dunne is really good.
I thought that we're getting a title shot soon. I was gonna say that happened tonight though.
Getting a title.
Geez,
Pete Dunne was really good. You know, I love his British strong style and love to see him back in the title contention.
Love to see him on the main roster. I think he'd be okay.
I love to see him anywhere but the main roster.
Yeah, it's just the part that is concerning about the main roster. I'm like, do I want him there? I enjoy him a lot in NXTea, and at least he gets TV time and he gets treated well. So do I really want him to go to the main roster? That's debatable. But yeah, maybe.
So Astrid, you've asked me, you've asked Alex. What about you? What did you enjoy from tonight's show?
Honestly, I enjoyed everything, but like standing out to me, it was that main event too, and that All Out Brawl setting up the War Games that we've been debating whether it will be like a lot of tag teams going on together or if it will be all singles guys teaming up. So it's pretty interesting that they went with all the singles guys teaming up like this, and obviously kind of having kind of like a similar storyline between them with the old school versus new school. But yeah, it was that War Game setup was my favorite part of the night for sure.
Yeah, I mean, how can it? It's hard to beat.
Yeah, that's for sure. And going back to the beginning, after we had Ciampa and Grayson, we had Cameron Grimes in the ring giving us a promo, and they had the video package about the poker showdown we got last week. And he keeps talking about his background, and he calls out Duke, who shows up from getting, I guess, some kind of haircut or something like that, but if it was, and he turned around to face Cameron, and he told him he found out he's only gutless but nutless as well after what happened last week. And he challenged him to a hair versus hair match at War Games, which Duke Hudson accepted. So I'm like, no offense to anybody, but I did enjoy seeing Cameron Grimes with that shorter hair. But do I want him without hair? No, not at all. So I'm just curious to see how this goes. So Ed, what did you think about this segment overall?
I never thought I could see Cameron Grimes as, like, having watched and followed him in TNA and having seen his work on the indies and then seeing him come here, I never would have imagined him working as a pure babyface the way he does right now in this magical moment with this one gimmick that he's just pulled off to to the nth degree. Him crying through the beginning of this promo, like seeing legit tears on his face. Now, maybe that's, some kind of an eye drop or something, but, the emotion and the feeling of it. He really got to me with that promo. He can play the comedy guy. He can play the goofy heel. He can play the goofy baby face. But you get this guy in a ring, and he's super talented in everything he does. And do I want him to lose his hair versus hair match? No. The heel should almost always lose the hair versus hair match. But I think it means more if Grimes loses. I don't want him to lose, but it continues bringing in that sympathy. It makes us hate Duke Hudson more. I think he's going to lose. I don't want him to. I hope I'm wrong. But if I were betting on it right now, if we were doing predictions on it right now, I'd say Duke Hudson wins this match.
Oh, how about you, Alex?
I have to agree with Ed. Like, this was a very good promo from Grimes. And I've only seen him really as kind of this comedy gimmick. especially with his stuff with LA Knight. He got a little bit serious there, but eventually he did come out on top. Hello from to everything pro wrestling. But I definitely think that with Duke being a newer face, or not face, a newer heel among the crowd, I think that he needs to have something to really put him over the top. And I do like maybe he's going to have a moment where he goes over dirty, and we see Grimes lose his hair. It's going to be almost reminiscent of Shanghai Noon when Jackie Chan got his hair cut. And it was, it's a bout of honor, it's a little bit of honor with the long hair. And that's kind of what Cameron Grimes was saying, is like, he has his hair, he has his beard for a reason. You take that away from him, it's, who knows what it could do to him. We could see a more serious Grimes in the end. But yeah, I think Duke is going to find some way to cheat and get the win there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just like I can't, like I said, I can't even picture Grimes with that hair. So just like I figured they'll probably go that route just to give us more points to like him as a baby face. But other than that, I just like yeah, Duke is kind of dry for me sometimes. I mean, Duke, yeah. So it just, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. But I just like Ed was saying, I'm thinking like maybe it'll happen to Grimes in the end. So
it is not active. DiBiase took the title and drove away.
So, I mean, there's a little more to it. Yes, he's exactly right. That's what happened. But Grimes gave him the title back and said, I don't need this anymore. I've earned what I wanted to. I've gotten what I wanted to out of it. And this belongs to you. You should have it. And then DiBiase gave him what he thought was the title back, for only Cameron Grimes to find out that it was a replica.
Oh, replica. Yeah.
And then you got one great last, that Tam said DiBiase, and then Grimes laughed, and that was the end of Ted DiBiase and the $1 million title.
Yeah, that's what it is. There you go. So next one for the parts that we got the medical update on Dexter, and then we saw ND getting worried about it, and I like how it's the second week in a row, I believe, that Persia says or volunteers to do the match by herself. And after we saw her last time, she could do it by herself. So I thought she was going to honestly do it by herself again. And then Indy said, no, I got it. This is for you, Dexter. But as we see her through the match, every time she's on the apron, she's like looking at her ring and thinking about Dexter. And she's like looking sad on the apron, not paying attention to when Persia needs her as a partner in the match. And I think, Ed, I believe it was you in the chat that noticed that even for the pin, it like Indy's shoulder wasn't even on the map, but she still got pinned, and we got like KC Square getting the victory. I did like how KC Square has been doing a lot of good double team moves lately with each other, like showing off that chemistry they have with each other through the match. That's one of the parts that I enjoy them like the most now as a tag team. But overall, I like the match. It was like a regular match, but more than anything, what stood out to me was Indy's facial expressions and the way she was responding to like Dexter's medical update before the match begun. So, Alex, what did you think about this match?
I enjoyed it. KC Squared has been very entertaining thus far, and when I saw the marriage of Indy and Dexter, I thought this was going to be like, here's the wedding, they do a 1 week thing, and then we're done with it. It's no longer going to be mentioned again. I'm glad at this point in NXT, we're still getting that story, and it's being used appropriately. She played the gimmick up well. She was more worried about Dexter than the match, and obviously it cost her. So I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, this was it was a textbook match here. Great tag team wrestling. Persia, the bigger competitor, really having to take the brunt of it, getting double teamed. Indy totally not being there, never should have been on the apron, completely out of it. Not a worry in the world for the match, all worried about Dexter. Persia really is playing up this character. I feel like they're headed to a split already. And that's the only thing that worries me about this is that are they headed to a split where they give somebody else to Robert Stone? And if they do, Persia, I'm sorry, we'll see you on the NXT release lists after WrestleMania. If that's the case, because anybody who works with Robert Stone is dead person walking, it seems, lately.
Dude is cursed at this point.
It really is. But no, the match was good. KC squared. I like their new tag team finish. I hope that's their tag team finish because the last one would always scare the bejesus out of me every time they tried to do it. That sidewalk slam with the double backflip that Casey does is just, it's a lot. It's a lot for two really young competitors. But no, Indy's character work here was fantastic. And the character work overall all night was really good. Everybody playing their part well. Ships in the Night again tonight. Another thing of just absolute pure beauty with Ships in the Night throughout the backstage segments tonight.
For the next part, we got a promo that we were all really confused about in the chat, to be honest. It was a lot of mention of daddy this and daddy that, and I was like, well, this is not Ciampa, so who's she talking about? That's what I was thinking all along. So who the heck is it? I had no idea. And then we see her name is Tiffany Stratton. It says that she's coming soon. She kind of reminded me of oh my gosh, I forgot her name now. Jeez. I know she's in NWA now. But she's
am I wrong? Oh yeah. Sorry.
No. Anyway, I'm curious about who her daddy is that we kept the mentioning of. But it just like I haven't seen anything of her before, so I really don't know what to expect from her. Aside of obviously from what we heard so far, so I'm just curious to see how it goes with her. What did you think about the promo, Ed?
I was really intrigued. We haven't had this type of gimmick in WWE in forever. Like we've had the rich girl and we've had the pretty girl, but we've never had the pretty rich, like stuck up little pain in the ass in WWE before. I'm very interested to see how that plays out in an in-ring capacity. Like as a gimmick, I can see it working. I don't know how it works in the ring. She's fairly new to the business. Her name is Jessica. I can't pronounce her last name to save my life. But her name is Jessica. She's part of the brand new class that came in at the end of August with that's the Solo Sikoa and the Gable Stevenson draft list, where they brought in all of those people into the company via that PC class. So she's very, very new.
Jessica Winoco?
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, exactly, Connor. The spoiled gimmick, the spoiled brat gimmick.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bringing Ted back, but but I mean, he would work. I honestly don't think we're ever going to have the daddy. I don't think daddy's going to be involved. I think it's just an off-screen character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's like it's her motivation.
Yeah, she kind of reminded me like Taryn Terrell. That's what she reminded me of at first.
Okay.
I was getting like Rick
what did you think, Alex?
I was getting like Rick Martel vibes, like with the whole sweater over the shoulders kind of thing, the tennis racket and whatnot. That's it was, it kind of felt like that to me.
I kept getting Brooke Hogan throughout the whole thing, so obviously I was distracted. I mean, I was like,
won't be the first time tonight you were distracted.
It won't. It wasn't the first, and it won't be the last.
I was going to say not the last one either.
Nope.
No. And okay, next up, we had before we get to the match, we had Chase backstage with Cameron, like kind of, and then Chase had the students lined up behind him. I thought that was interesting that he wasn't in the classroom this time. He had them lined up like it was a field trip. Like this is where we do this, so we do that, and then he faces Cameron. It was just like something that was like short and to the point. So maybe after he deals with Duke, maybe he goes up with Chase. But it had me curious to see if they cross paths after this, or maybe next week as well. We don't know, but it made me curious. The next one we had was
yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say I just love that we're continuing with this Chase University. We're seeing students' faces in this one. That's really cool. It's giving Chase another dynamic of like he's just constantly picking on everybody he can. Like he's inevitably, like I said, he reminds me of Heath Slater. Like this is the guy who's going to get beat up every week by everybody. Like I don't think he's going to win much of anything ever, but he's going to get over with the fact that this gimmick of, like a Dean Douglas style gimmick, but better. Like he's that Dean Douglas teacher. Oh, I know what's best, but he can't do anything about it. Like he can never put the lessons into practice. But I really love that he's on camera every week getting a little bit of something. And did an individual say Andre Chase?
Andre Chase. So next up we had Santos Escobar versus Malik Blade. This was one of those quick matches. We had Malik for a couple of weeks now as an enhancement talent, so obviously not surprising that he was part of this match again. I think the only offense that I saw him do was kind of the roll up on Santos, and Santos reversed it and he won. I did like having La Madrina in the ring starting the promo for the group and telling them that they didn't need Zion Quinn anyway to join Legado. And going back, it was like we have our leader and we're fine, and kind of like we're ready to challenge for the tag team championships. But before they get to finish, they get interrupted, and just like I love that, probably my favorite promo than having anybody interrupt this. But we had Kyle O'Reilly and Vaughn interrupting, telling them obviously they want to be the tag team champions, and going back and forth with Legado, and they talk about how Vaughn's foot was under the rope when he got pinned. So just like, we still have something going on unfinished business. And then we had the Champions Imperium, as Ed likes to call it, in the Eagle's Nest, doing the promo, responding to both teams. And we got later on in the graphic that we're going to have Kyle O'Reilly and Vaughn versus Imperium for the shot, and whoever wins is going to go against Imperium. So Ed, what did you think about this part?
I really like this. The match was, standard Santos Escobar. He's had 3 or 4 weeks off. He's coming back. They want to make sure he's in good ring shape. So let's go ahead and throw him in there with person we want to find out about. And he goes ahead and beats him up. As Dara says, Malik did a cartwheel. As I responded, he did a few. It didn't help much. But Legado del Fantasma, I said it in our group chat. Like, I can't wait to get to have 2K22 and have Legado's music as my theme for my creator wrestler, because I love that music. Yes, Dara Perez bring up a good point. Vaughn spoke some perfect Spanish, to which Ashton was very angry in the chat because she said, wait, so he said amigo and that's perfect Spanish? I'm like, well, I mean, he didn't get it wrong.
Sounds like every time I try to talk to Astrid.
I mean, to be honest, when Kyle O'Reilly was talking to Imperium and they asked if they thought they deserved the championship match, he did say, sí, bueno.
Yeah, so, Kyle's Spanish was better than that because he had at least more than one word.
He had 2. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure
exactly.
If I would put good after yes.
Fluent. He's very fluent.
Trust me, no Spanish can be worse than El Perisho. Okay, I will not get over that one.
And no, I don't think Santos is getting called up. I really don't. I don't think they have any idea what to do with a guy like Santos, and that's point proven by releasing Hit Row 3 or 4 weeks after they get brought up. I think Triple H will try his damnedest to keep Legado del Fantasma down in NXT, especially seeing that we're opening up the Cruiserweight division. I don't think there's any reason to keep somebody like Santos moving up, because you can move him into that North American title picture again pretty soon. But I'll stop talking for a little bit.
Okay, now Alex, you get to talk.
Yes. See, this was. I thought it was a very good promo. I'm very much like Imperium. I love their ground mat style wrestling. So I'm just a little disappointed we don't get to see Kyle be himself and be a singles competitor a little bit more. They stuck him with Von Wagner, and now they're having him do his tag gimmick, and I'm just a little remiss about that. But I was kind of hoping to see this become like a 3-way tag team match. I think it could be very well done with these 3 teams. So, but we're gonna see Legado versus Kyle and Wagner next week, but at some point to see who will face Imperium.
Yeah, I think it's next week if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. Like I thought they were asked or set up a 3-way somehow, but I guess thinking we probably have 1 more week left before the setup. So I figured it'll be probably better for them to fill up the match for next week. See, yes. But yeah, I guess expecting a 3-way out of it, but I wouldn't mind having like a contenders match to see who wins it, and maybe it'll be better that way for them and give us a little bit extra, because that way whoever wins can do a promo or attack some sort of way with Imperium and sell us on the match next week somehow. But after that, we had Cora with Zoe, Io, and Raquel backstage. I like how Raquel just came in and she's like, "Don't think I forgot about stand and deliver, Chiquita." And I was like, "Okay, don't come in here like that," but okay. I was like, a little bit too violent for me to start the promo, but my favorite point, I think Ed was too, when Cora goes, "Are you doing this chemical existing too? Because this is boring and it's old and it's outdated." And I'm like,
I
well,
love that so much.
I love it when NXT takes shots at the main roster. Like, they don't even take like real shots. Like, this isn't like, we had this discussion in the Slack chat today. We're gonna break a little Love Wrestling kayfabe here. We had a discussion in the Love Wrestling the Slap chat. I love a Slap chat. The Slack chat, where we were talking about shots between AEW and WWE. And while I'm not a huge fan of like shooting against your competition and like just leaving it be, I think that's probably the best way. I do love the idea of NXT being a WWE product, taking like tiny shots at the main roster, being like, really, are we gonna do that same old tired thing where like, can we work together? I loved it. Made the whole promo.
yeah, I feel like it made the segment more entertaining for me. And then Cora was asking them, we need a fourth to face Toxic Attraction and Dakota, the War Games, so it's going to be our fourth. And then she goes, "You guys worry about that because I have Mandy to face tonight, so let me take care of Mandy tonight, and then you guys focus on that fourth." And then we go back and we have an interview with Tony, and then he's talking about the three-way for the North American Championship. And obviously, like Ed mentioned, he says like Pete Dunne's not going to win. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but okay. And he said he was betting on Carmella winning. And we see later on why he said that. And then after that, we go back to Mandy and Cora. It was kind of like a quick match for me. It was a good, at least for me. And the part that I thought was interesting was that in commentary, they kept mentioning Mandy has a lot of experience. Mandy has done this. Mandy has done that, but she hasn't done War Games yet. So we'll see how her leadership is tested during War Games. And I like how in the middle of the match, KLR comes out with that bat and she's going to run the ring. Mandy gets distracted very easily versus compared to Cora. And then KLR just basically throws the bat at the referee who catches it. But then that distracts Mandy and Cora wins with the roll up, which was not expecting it from me, being that I'm like the champion getting pinned. I was not expecting that. And then obviously that gives us the fourth person for the Women's War Games match now. So overall, Alex, what did you think about this whole thing?
I liked, so like I'll say this many times probably throughout the night and next week, and War Games if I'm on those shows. I haven't really seen much of NXT in a while, so getting introduced to Cora Jade, I love the gimmick. I love the way that she holds herself. I actually really love this form of Mandy Rose, her final form, if you want to call her that. It's very much different than what she was doing, but it's still that same like seductiveness that she had. And I'm just glad that she got away from Otis because she couldn't be this true self with Otis. No offense to the people that like that gimmick, but this is what I was hoping for. And she comes out on top. I do like the setup with KLR coming out and the distraction with the bat. I thought that was very different. And having Cora Jade get the roll-up was very nice. So that way it's not like, oh, man, boo. So very, very well done overall.
Now, Alex,
what about you, Ed?
I mean, I like the match. There wasn't much to it. I think they protected both girls with the fact that they just wanted to make sure that it was a short match. Make sure everybody looks strong, keep it going, get the storyline over, get KLR inserted into the match, and then call it a day. There was a quick thing that we wanted I wanted to mention because it involves Mandy coming into the arena earlier in the day, and anything with Mandy has my attention. But they have all Toxic Attraction there, and Wade Barrett has not taken over for Corey Graves. That's my job. That's my job. My job with Mandy is to take over for Corey Graves. He has Carmella. I get Mandy now, at least on screen. But that being said, like it was a good, fun match. But they teased Kaylee Ray earlier in the night, and it continues from them teasing Kaylee Ray a couple weeks ago with them leaving and then, basically blowing off Kaylee Ray, saying that she's, not even worth their time. Oh, I said no. But no, Alex, I brought up a question to you, and having been an in-ring competitor, I want to get your interpretation on this. Yeah. The facial reactions to Cora Jade. She's a very animated face in the ring with her selling. Is this something that's good? Is she doing it well? Or is this something I'm noticing because it's taking away from the match and she's overselling?
So, you don't want Michaels versus Hogan overselling. Where it very much takes away from the match. A little selling is a very, because you want to telegraph what's going on. If you bury your face in your arms or into the mat, people can't tell you're in pain, So very much having the ugly facial expressions that you're in pain, that you're in anguish, or even the positive ones is a very good thing. But yeah, like sometimes it can take away. Like I said, Hogan, Michaels, or even a little bit of Dolph Ziggler, the overselling. It just depends on also too what you look for. Some people might like it, some people might not like it.
Yeah. I just figured since we had you here, this is a question I would pose to Parrish as an in-ring competitor.
Hey.
But as an in-ring competitor, it was something I noticed in this match, and I was like, Alex, can you keep an eye on it and give me an opinion? Because with her, I notice it a lot more than I see with a lot of the female talent. And with her being younger, I'm like, is this something that hopefully they can work on in the PC and in NXT to tone it down a little? Because she does remind me a little bit of Dolph Ziggler with her selling, with her face. Ziggler is very over animated with his face, but he does it just enough to not be like, I know a lot of people say Dolph overdoes it. I think Dolph does a perfect job at it. Like, I think his idea is to oversell it. Like, that's what he's trying to do. So he nails it perfectly. No, Connor. I will defend him. I love Shawn Michaels to the end of the earth. Shawn Michaels was right to react the way he did and to do things the way he did. But no, Morgan versus Michaels is not a tutorial on how to sell. I mean, it is a tutorial on how to sell too much.
How not to sell.
No, it's how to sell too much.
If he was selling just to get over how big and how monstrous and how immortal Hulk Hogan was, then I get that. But it was just Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan.
And Sean Cena here, since we have all of us here, do we think Kaylee Ray takes the belt off Mandy Rose?
Oof. I think she should, though, just because I feel like, how do you have Kayla in a title match and not have her win after all the momentum, how the way you're selling her since she started in this part of NXT so far, and based on her resume in NXT UK too?
I haven't seen her enough to be able to say whether or not I think this is a person. Of course, we see a lot of people on the main roster who can, this person's going to dethrone this person. But it never ends up happening. So, in the right time, the right person will do it. But is it KLR? Maybe not. I think they should definitely let this title reign breathe a little bit longer.
I agree. Do I think KLR will take the title away from her? No, I don't think she'll take the title off Mandy. Mandy needs a little bit of time to breathe with this, and Mandy needs to be outdone by a face. I don't know if there's a way to turn KLR face enough. I don't think Mandy's talented enough to do heel versus heel the right way with a stable. Like, I love gimmick aside, I love Mandy Rose. She's beautiful. Gimmick aside, she's still very inexperienced in the ring.
Ed, you might want to go to the kitchen and get a glass of water.
Yeah, hold on.
Just saying.
He has it next to him.
Look a little parched there.
Yeah. I mean, but gimmick aside, Mandy Rose is still very inexperienced in the ring. Like, Wade Barrett bringing that up, talking about how experienced she is. Well, yeah, she's been here a while. She was on, Tough Enough as Amanda. I don't think people remember that enough. She was on the season with Sonya Deville as Amanda, the one we all hated, that we thought would never get into the wrestling business. And she's the biggest star off that show. I love Sonya. Sonya's not as big a star as Mandy. But that being said, like Mandy needs this, and it takes a certain person to do heel versus heel in the right way. No, I'm not dethroning Becky. We're not talking about me and my hatred for Becky because hell froze over last night, and we're not talking about that on the air.
I could see maybe Mandy going over on KLR just to solidify her championship reign a little bit.
Yeah, I could see. I think KLR will be NXT Women's Champion within the next 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
This time next year, as we're talking about who stood out as NXT Women's Champion in 2022, KLR is going to be on that list.
Mm-hmm.
But Mandy needs a little, like Alex says, a little bit more time to breathe. And you need to make somebody out of this victory because you have 3-on-1. So I think it's Zoe Stark. I know she's young and she needs a little bit more and she's hurt right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Mania weekend, Zoe Stark goes ahead and, climbs the mountain and defeats Toxic Attraction and wins the Women's Championship. I could see it. And then KLR takes it off her.
That's an interesting, because I remember a couple of weeks back, everybody was just like, I hate Zoe Stark and Io Shirai. It's so annoying. But now here you are saying that she's going to be the one.
Wait, we don't want them together. We don't mind them separately.
Separately, they're fine. Okay, I get it. Now. Forgive me, I'm a freshman here.
No, that's fine. Our problem with Zoe Stark and Io Shirai was always that they were so cringe together.
Mm-hmm.
Zoe Stark is ultra talented. Io Shirai is one of the best in the world. But Zoe Stark is a really talented young wrestler who can really do some fantastic things. And NXT is the place to bring up talent like that and develop and cultivate that kind of talent. But her with Io Shirai was nails on a chalkboard bad. Like when we thought about Paige with the Kabuki Warriors, that's how bad Zoe Stark and Io Shirai were. Okay. And the main roster was smart enough to not do that with Paige. Like, remember how we all thought, oh, how bad is this going to be with Paige managing 2 Japanese superstars?
And luckily they did away with that, yeah.
But they didn't, they managed to toe that line where they didn't go that way. And they lent into it with Zoe Stark and Io Shirai, and that's what we hated. That's why we wanted them to lose the titles. But no, Zoe Stark is ultra talented and deserves the world. As long as it's not a tag team.
Yeah, especially after that promo at the restaurant that they had and she was throwing away the food. That was just like the tipping point for me. Just like, if this is how it starts, I just wanted to end already. I was done with them as a team. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Zoe having that highlight by herself because I feel she didn't get it enough. She was single competitive for a couple weeks and then she got into it with Io and just that was it. And I would like to see her as a singles competitor to see more of her character without a partner and see how she works in the ring by herself. That's what I would like to see because we didn't get enough of it. And now she's injured, obviously. But, we'll see how she comes back later. But anyway, now back to regular programming. We had Trick Mello and their promo in the ring talking about how the disrespect stops tonight with the match and how he's the leader of the new school. And my favorite line was when he says, oh, Gargano says he's been here for 5 years. It's a good thing. And then he says, I've only been here for 5 months and look at where I'm at. I thought that was super interesting, pinpointing that out. And I like the other part where he says, you chase Mello, Mello doesn't chase you. I thought that was super interesting and for those points in the promo. What did you think, Alex?
I thought it was a good promo. So not more I can say about it, It's a good promo.
Yeah, I mean, Carmelo Hayes cuts a great promo. He looks the part of a champion. That title on his shoulder, he looks the part, he acts the part, he talks the part.
He carries himself well, yeah.
Yeah, we should have known that, they literally, now that I'm thinking back throughout this show, they literally spelled out this match throughout the entire show, and we missed it. Starting with the Tony D'Angelo segment where he was talking to Mackenzie and he was talking about how people are betting on Johnny and people are betting on Pete. Well, I'm betting on Carmelo. Boom. That puts Carmelo and Tony together. It puts Tony against Pete Dunne. And then he talks about, and I love the little shot at Vic Joseph that we don't get his name dropped, but he talks about her brand new engagement ring, which they mentioned a couple weeks ago, with Vic Joseph saying "babe" at the end of one of her segments. And he talks about going ahead and upgrading her ring from a 1 carat to a 2 carat if she has money to put on the match. But so we have that segment that sets that up. And then here we have the mention of the word new school. And so that links us into Greyson Waller and linking him with Carmelo Hayes, and then in turn linking him in with Tony D'Angelo. And we had LA Knight. So now we've got battle lines drawn 3 and 3. And they haven't even done anything. Like, that's the greatness of the storytelling and the ships passing in the night that NXT 2.0 has been. That they told this story all night. And until the last 3 to 5 minutes of that show, you didn't realize it. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
They're amazing, does it? And Tony talks about the 3 Stooges of NXT. Now, granted, he was talking about the announce team, but it's another shot. It's just another shot. And, I mean, Trick is great. Like, I like Trick as a back man to Carmelo Hayes. Like, he's nothing fabulous, but he needs a lot of work. He's young. He's not very seasoned. He doesn't know a ton. So he's still learning. So I think having him under the learning tree of a guy like Carmelo Hayes as support, because Hayes is a smaller guy. So it makes sense to have somebody big like Trick on there. And we'll get to Steiner Math. We'll get there.
No, that was already mentioned beforehand.
Don't bring up Steiner Math. It'll upset Zach.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's at least probably Ed's second favorite part of the second maybe. No, Mandy was in there. So anyway, your favorite part with the Gacy promo, because I really don't like Gacy yet. I know that's the point, but still don't like him. I couldn't keep up with what he was saying, but I like having the end with Garland putting his hand on his shoulder before they take it off, and he's holding it while he's smiling. But yeah, talking about his usual stuff about the safe space and all that stuff like usual. I don't know if you pinpointed what he said exactly, because I couldn't keep up with him to take notes on that part.
No, this promo was very simple. He was talking, he had gotten into it with LA Knight earlier, and he was just, it was a basic, the ring is my safe space. I'm all about inclusivity, and we're going to go ahead and I'll give you a chance to settle your demons, get your anger out later tonight. And of course, that match didn't happen.
And then we get, and then we get Cora hugging. She's getting help by the ladies backstage for her win, and she's asking about if they knew that KLR was coming out. And KLR starts joining them backstage, and she's like, "Well, you need a fourth. Well, then I'm your fourth." And then for next week for the advantage match, I'll be the one competing for our team. So then later on, they announce it's KLR versus Dakota, and then obviously the winner gets the advantage for the War Games team. So what did you guys think overall? Let's start with Ed.
I mean, I like this. It was short. It was sweet. It gave us, they already told us what we needed to know, that she was the fourth. Her standing across from Mandy Rose gave us that point. I like the fact that they come in here and she's like, I don't like any of you. I don't want to be here. None of you like me. But guess what? I'm the fourth. You need a fourth. I'm here. Oh, and by the way, to prove how good I am, I'm going to be in the ladder match for us next week. And it kind of brings it up. Will she use her bat in the match? She might try, but history tells us she's going to lose this match because the heel side almost always wins the advantage. Because when the baby faces have the advantage, it's pointless.
Yeah. What did you think, Alex?
Yeah, you mentioned that. I was going to go on the side of KLR needs to win it because it only shows how much more badass she is. And, even build her up towards being the one that could be the dethroner to Mandy Rose. But, yeah, you mentioned the advantage always has to go to the heels. And, yeah, it only makes sense booking-wise. It needs to happen. But we have seen in the past where it goes to the faces. So we could see it here. Just why? It's wrong. It's dumb. But, I mean, at this point, it can only put over a KLR right now. And, eventually maybe even see her, get the victory in the War Games match.
Later, then after that, we got Gacy in the ring. He was waiting for Knight for them to do the match. And then that's when Knight gets attacked by Grayson during his entrance. And that's what starts them beating each other up backstage and through so many places to the night up until the end. And Gacy starts by telling the crowd that he wants to apologize because the match won't be happening, and he wanted to show Knight how to handle his issues peacefully and how he can fix them. But then he gets interrupted by Diamond Man, which I thought this promo was really interesting, continuing back what happened with them last time. And then I like how Malcolm starts with Ivy has a match, but then he continues on with the promo. And I like how Gacy goes, "Oh, I don't have respect for Roddy," and I feel like that got Roddy like fired up when he started the promo. And I like Roddy's attitude changing from like supporting Malcolm to getting fired up like this. And he mentioned a couple things back and forth about the cruiserweight division, and he said like, obviously I want to face you, Gacy. And I like how Malcolm goes to the Creed brothers, like, take out the garbage. And when they go to try to attack Gacy, Garland's right behind Gacy, supporting him. So he goes, never mind, we'll do it again next time, I guess. And Gacy is just turning around and smiling at Garland while that's happening. So they just break it off like that, and they just have Ivy with Diamond Mine, I guess, after the on the side of the ring, just waiting, I guess, for her opponent, which I didn't get the name of because I didn't see the nameplate this time around. I usually try to get her name. But anyway, Alex, what did you think overall about everything that's happened there?
So I thought the promo was really well done. I love that the crowd was chanting Michael Myers, because it's on the Peacock Network. I thought the match overall was very good. Like, I loved the little reverse, the chokehold that, oh my God, name.
Ivy.
Thank you. Ivy had on her opponent. I thought it was really well done. The only problem with it is that she had her shoulders on the mat, so she would get pinned. Which, if you're a smart competitor, you wouldn't be doing that. But that's neither here nor there. Overall, I'd put her over. I love seeing this match, and it was very, very well done.
Yeah, Ivy's great. She's really coming along from being on the Titan Games and being a CrossFit and a bodybuilder and all of that fun stuff. But going back to the Diamond Mine segment with Gacy, I love how Gacy is sticking his nose into this because Gacy doesn't fall into the 205-pound weight limit, and we all know that. And everybody's been complaining about how the cruiserweight division is losing all of its talent. There's nobody left for it, and I like how they're going to open this up. I want them to rename the title. If they're going to keep doing this, they need to rename it and just have and they have enough talent for 3 individual singles males titles.
Call it the Y division.
Yeah. The XY division, you mean?
XYZ division. Yeah, there you go.
But no, I love how he's like, I'm all about inclusivity. You're the cruiserweight champion. It's all about exclusivity. I'm about being, bringing everybody together. You're about weight limits and body shaming and weight shaming. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Like, I hate Joe Gacy that I have to agree with him. And but it's great that he's just doing it and he's getting it over, and he's hell bent for leather to make this gimmick work. Yes, the NXT inclusive title.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Division has to be in there somewhere. I'm just saying.
But no, I thought it was really good. I thought it was creative. Like, you want to do a program with Joe Gacy versus Roderick Strong. Well, Roderick Strong's a champion of a division that Joe Gacy isn't a part of. So you get Joe Gacy to bait Roderick Strong into a match because the division's too exclusive. I love it. I think it's creative. People are going to hate it. They're going to be like, what is the weight limits for this division anymore? And it's not a cruiserweight and all that stuff. I don't care. We're going to get Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy. That's going to be a hell of a friggin' match.
I watched
next up.
I watched TNA multiple times.
What's
I watched TNA a lot.
Okay.
Roderick doesn't have the personality of a lead, but that's why you have Malcolm Bivens.
Yeah,
Roderick doesn't lead this.
Yeah, Roderick's badass enough that he doesn't have to lead.
So next up, we had the MSK promo continue on with their shaman, who unfortunately is not who we wanted it to be last week because of the releases. But that's for another day, another story. But they get stopped by the cops, and they're like asking him, "Is like, how fast do you think you were going? And he goes, 35. He's like, no, you were going 7 miles per hour. I'm like, I was not expecting that answer. I like how they kept going back and forth with the fanny pack because they're like, I don't want to have it. I don't want to have it. You don't have it. They're trying to hide it. And they go, oh, what's in the bag? And they would try to open it. They're like, no, you guys are good. You guys can go ahead. He's like, oh, you see, he's still protecting us. So now it made me think back, since it's obviously not going to be Morrison. We're back to square one. Who the heck is this shaman? So Alex, obviously you don't watch NXT. So from your outsider point of view, who do you think is the shaman for MSK?
Yes, I have no clues. I'm kind of who did you guys think was going to be the shaman?
John Morrison.
John Morrison.
So last week they kept using the name shaman, and then they were talking about how he's a tag team expert and he knows how to bring tag teams together. And I was like, oh well, that makes sense. Like Eminem and him and Miz. And I'm like Morrison's known for his tag team wrestling, and he's an epitome of tag team wrestling, especially nowadays. The shaman of sexy. I'm like, how great would it be if it was John Morrison? 3 days later, John Morrison has been released in WWE. Yeah, and Ashley just goes, no, the shaman.
Well, so the one takeaway I did have from his promo was after the vignette, Beth is like, oh man, I wonder what was in the fanny pack, and Wade Barrett's just like, oh, I'll tell you later about it. And I'm like, I see what you did there.
Just going to leave this up for a minute.
Yeah, I left that up because I did it on our ad because he had me hosting today, so might as well leave the name that he gave me too, because apparently I have too many names now. So, yeah. Aside from that one, I guess I'm the first lady of Love Wrestling as well, but that one's too big to fit in there, so I don't put it.
You're going to steal from Maria Kanellis now. Okay. I mean, if you're going to steal from greatness, but she's on Twitch now. We got to be careful.
Yeah. It doesn't really fit in there anyway, so I like Big Star, and then the natural fits a lot better with my name anyway, so just leave it like that.
But no, I have no idea.
So I like another... No, I don't know now. My thing was Morrison all along, so just like, I don't know. I don't know what could it be now. It just had me curious. I really don't know. Could it be anybody like new debuting? And made me think of since we had Tiffany earlier, maybe somebody from the new class. But at the same time, it was like, they make it seem like it's somebody that has experience with tag teams. So just like, I don't know. After that.
Up until today, it could have been Scotty 2 Hotty.
Mm-hmm.
But he's asked for his release after 30 years. And good for him. He wants to go do something fun. He's had a bunch of fun doing it. He's choosing when to leave. That's always nice when people get to choose. It could be Jeff Hardy, but he's on television on the main roster. It's unlikely. Morrison's not on TV. That's one of the reasons why we thought it was going to be him.
What if we just heard? I know, you just brought the argument of he's on the main roster, but what if we just heard, bro? And he comes walking by like, hey guys, what you got in the fanny pack? And like, oh, we've been looking for you. You've been working with Orton this whole time, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, and Bubba Duke brought that up last week, talking about, RVD or Riddle or somebody like that being a pot guy. What about Devon? Devon still works for the company, and he's the epitome of tag team wrestling, and he runs a wrestling academy. It could be Devon.
Oh, Ed, don't testify.
Or, if we're throwing out really dumb suggestions, what about Michael P.S. Hayes?
Do.
We're talking about weed, and we're talking about tag team wrestling and old school guys. And yes, Parrish said last week that he was talking about it could be Riddle. No, it's not going to be the best in the world, Shane McMahon. That's a Tom Colley thing. We don't bring Shane McMahon over here. We leave him over in Tom's channel.
You better put some respect on that. The best in the world.
Connor's one of our wonderful friends from Tom Colley's Twitch channel, and I, unfortunately, last year rebirthed Shane McMahon in the WWE. I accidentally talked it into existence, and so it's become a running joke. I'm just explaining why this going.
That's all we do here in Love Wrestling. We give them ideas.
We do, because they listen to us.
Fantasy booking.
There are things that we say on this chat, and with me, Cody and Asher, there'll be things we talk about, and then all of a sudden on NXT the next week they happen. It could be Brian Kendrick. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think of him as a tag team guy, so I don't think Kendrick and who was it? The one that got fired because he smiled during the Vince promo.
Oh,
London, Paul London.
Yeah.
But I don't think of when I think of Kendrick, I think of his run as Cruiserweight champion or him as Spanky in the old in the Ruthless
Spank.
Dude, but he was great as Spanky. We're getting off point. Astrid, get us back on track.
No, I don't have words at this point. But anyway, next up we had the Solo Sikoa promo, which I think it was you, Ed, that said it. One of the lines that he said I thought that was super interesting. He said he was walking with those day ones, but now he's on his own. And I'm like, holy moly, these promos. I don't know what you guys think of it.
You want
to go first, Alex?
Yeah, it put him over. I thought it was really good. Hey, I'm going to come in and be a badass. That's all I need. That's all I needed to say. I've been down to day one, but those guys are on day 80, 800 and whatever it is now, 16.9, whatever. So yeah, he's day one-ish in NXT.
I mean, like I said, I pointed it out in the chat because it really caught my eye. It was the very beginning of the promo, and he's talking about being a fighter, and why am I in NXT? And he says that line, and he's just like, I used to walk with those day ones, but now I walk alone. They left me behind because he's the third Uso. He's the younger brother. He's not one of the twins. So it's they were with me and we're blood and we're supposed to be together forever. But what did they do? They got the opportunity and they left. And they left me on the island by myself. And I had to fend for myself. And it's no Parish. And it's just one of those things where it goes ahead and it brings me joy to see him bringing it up because everybody's waiting for it. I mean, hell, he debuted on the show and the Usos tweeted a picture of a blood drop for the bloodline. They're already setting the seeds for him coming up and being a part of this storyline. And they're setting the seeds in NXT being yeah, I know. Alex just read what I read. What they call that made me cry. So we have our friend Cody in the chat. He says, "Hey guys, haven't gotten to watch yet, but we miss you too, buddy. Hopefully you'll be back soon. I know you're on assignment for the next.
I don't miss you. I hope you never come back. This is not my spot."
And then Cody does say, "Except Alex." So, but no, Solo Sikoa is great. He's got an entirely unique character to the rest of the family. But he can still play the same lines and not make it feel like it's derivative and boring and something that has to be said. This is the first time he's mentioned them. He's mentioned the island and the island family in every promo. But this is the first time he's brought up the bloodline in any way, being I was with them on day one, and now I walk alone. I really think
I had to point this out. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I really think he's going to end up siding with The Rock when we get there. How great would it be if the Rock's getting beat down by Roman and the Usos, heading into Mania, and all of a sudden Solo's music hits, and he comes running out, and the family's "Yeah, go on, go get him," and he's standing there with them, and he does the inevitable, "No, swerve, bro," but he starts beating up the Usos and Roman's just staring at him, going, doing from the outside, and you just have him pick up The Rock, and then once The Rock leaves, it immediately sets up Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns. You can immediately put him in that program, and maybe it's him. Maybe he's the one who gets built up, and maybe he's the one who inevitably takes the title off Roman.
I had to show some love for Alex so he could feel better.
Oh, sorry. I tried to go to a different
that one.
Oh, thank you. I miss you too.
And then dueling things. That's assuming The Rock shows up and isn't eating a sandwich. Man, everybody being so upset with one of the Rock and Rikishi and Baby Hoops go against the Bloodline. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be a great 3-on-3.
That's
I love how I do
I
love
will-
how everybody got upset about The Rock not appearing this weekend at Survivor
Mhm.
Series when he was never once advertised. Like they were like, it's the 25th anniversary. Like we're doing a special battle royal for him. They never once even remotely said he was appearing on the show. And people still get mad because he didn't show up.
I think the report said that he was in China for something.
Yeah, it's like there was no
Red Notice 2,
reason.
let's go.
There was no reason to believe he was ever going to be there.
Red Notice 2, Notice Harder. Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh my
Survivor Series
God.
next year.
Oh God,
Oh, no.
I really hope they don't name it that. Or Rikishi would do it for The Rock.
Honestly, if they do the Bloodline versus Rock versus Rikishi versus Sanoa, I think I will rescind my $4.99 subscription and not watch that Mania. I'm sorry, that's not what I want to see.
Yeah. I thought at least that, but nope.
Yeah, nope.
But again,
Not even a promo. We got an
it's
egg.
it's only Carney garbage if they tell you he's going to be there and he isn't. Like we've all gotten on WWE for being Carney, and they've done terrible Carney things in the past. This is one time you can't blame them.
No.
No, but I think it would have been nice. It's the 25th
here's-
anniversary. You
here's-
could at least gotten The Rock via satellite with a promo package and say thank you.
Here's the thing. That's all of wrestling is Carney. That is exactly, you've described it down to a T, is Carney. We go in, we get our paycheck, and we get out. That's it. And no, I do not want to see Undertaker versus Goldberg. Pass.
Moving on.
Hard
Get back
pass.
on track. NXT
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah, back on subject, people. Back on subject. Anyway. Okay, we have one of Ed's favorite people also. We had GYB backstage. I thought this would have been something more long, but then all of a sudden we see Grayson and Knight still fighting, and they're, I guess, going against GYB all of a sudden for this moment, and that was it. I'm like, I don't know what they were talking about. I just paid attention to the guys when they crossed paths in there. But then we got the.
It was just a continuation of the whole distracting and stealing thing. They distracted him. They stole his wallet. They threw it away and took his money.
The next one that I thought was interesting was the Boa promo. I couldn't type it exactly what he said, but I thought it was interesting how he said like Mei Yin's kind of like power kind of passed away, and basically they're onto him now, and that changed the face painting that he had during the promo. But I thought it was interesting how he said like Mei Yin passed away. So I was like, okay, so I guess we're not getting Karen doing this anymore. She's doing her own thing, and this just confirms that Mei Yin's not coming back. So I thought that was super interesting with the lines.
They gave her a name.
So I figured that would be interesting with that they like basically dismissed the character now. What did you think about that part, Ed?
I liked it. It gave us an actual conclusion. Like it confirmed to us what we all thought happened a couple weeks ago. Is it going to be good for Boa? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm slightly more intrigued with him with this weird Mei Ying power now passing on to him. I mean, he's the last one left. Karen's doing her own thing under a new name. Xia Li's up on SmackDown, not being used currently. But she will be used once they figure out what to do.
She's coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, at least they got promo packages for her. But I mean, it's fine. Boa's Boa. I mean,
What did you think, Alex?
I like the whole idea of the transference of power from Mei Ying to Boa. It seems a little outlandish, but what is wrestling but a little outlandish? We had an Undertaker, we have a demon, we had a guy with a split personality. So I thought it was really kind of interesting, and I'm interested to see what they do with it in the future.
Speaking about something outlandish, if you haven't already, go ahead onto our. Hold on, let me get the right thing out here. Our YouTube channel, located right here at youtube.com/lovewrestlingca. Go ahead and subscribe, and you will get access to see Spencer Love's interview with the outlandish one, Zicky Dice.
Hey, I'm glad I could provide that segue there. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Charge it to me,
The boss will give us some
Yeah.
budget now.
Yeah, that's 5 cents to each of you.
But now we have GYB versus JBBJ, as Cody likes to call them. I thought it was kind of like a quick match, but I like the quick action they have between each other. Obviously, it was not going to last too long, but I think it was interesting when they do the part with James and the injury and distracting the referee, which is what he's been learning after Gibson is on the outside of the ring. But then after that, still it doesn't help because JBBJ get the win. What did you think about this match, Alex?
Unfortunately, I was finishing up another project before signing on to here, so I kind of missed this match. I do believe the other tag team, not the Grizzled Young Veterans, went over. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I thought that was a little interesting. Like we just had the Grizzled Young Veterans giving a little bit of a promo, putting themselves over, but we had the other team going over. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Ed? What your favorites?
I really like. I love Grizzled Young Veterans. They are fantastic, wonderful people, and I don't want them being a comedy act. That being said, they had a really interesting match here. They're continuing that gimmicky hack thing with them needing to teach a heel how to distract the referee. Like, it would be better if like Zach Gibson was teaming with somebody brand new and they were a babyface, and he's teaching him how to cheat. But this is his partner for the last like 3 years in NXT UK, where they've been former tag team champions. Like, it doesn't work because of who it is. Like, if it was Kyle O'Reilly teaching Von Wagner to cheat or something like that would make more sense. But it was a fine match, and I'm glad that it was there. But it's setting up a bunch of different contenders for the tag team titles, which is always nice.
Mm-hmm.
And just to answer a couple questions here in the comments, and it's not budget cuts. And as I explained, no, it's between two beards. Pogo blows everybody's budget every week, so that we have to do cheap plugs like the Wordsmith coming in and talking about, you want something outlandish, watch Poetry of a Promo, which this week had Lex Luger versus a T-shirt. And if that doesn't make you watch Poetry of a Promo,
was it any good? I don't know.
I liked it. I always enjoy poetry.
If you don't get the joke, watch Poetry for Promo.
Oh, I didn't even get
So
that.
at least,
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, how did I miss that? Oh, I'm such a fool. All right, keep going.
wow. So they basically kept giving us the card for what's going to be for War Games. So officially we get Duke versus Cameron, Hair versus Hair. And then I think this is for next week, the Roddy versus Gacy for the Cruiserweight Championship, because I don't remember if it was for War Games. All right. And then obviously now they put KLR in the graphics. So we have the Women's War Games. And obviously at the end, they set up the old school versus new school for the guys' War Games. So we have that going on as well. And obviously next week we have KLR versus Dakota. Winner gets the advantage for their team for War Games. So basically that sums up this episode of NXT this week. It was overall pretty good. What did you guys think, like, overall about it, though?
Alex?
Overall, like I said, this being my first time watching any of the NXT 2.0 rebranding, I thought it was really well done. It very much introduced me into a lot of these new faces that I'm kind of seeing for the first time, and not through YouTube clips. Like I said, the beginner was, the opener was very hot for me. Even this triple threat, which I think we're going to get to, it was very, very hot. And the finish to the whole show, it only won me to see more.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you want to talk about it, because we already mentioned the main event, but if you want to talk more about that part, though.
I thought we were going that way, but we
haven't talked much about the match itself and just finishing it up. So so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alice, what were your thoughts on the main event itself?
Oh, you would? It was a main event. No, I always love seeing Gargano and Pete Dunne mix it up. I think that they're two of the top competitors in NXT. I would love to see more from them in the future. I did enjoy Carmelo Hayes, even though part of me doesn't want to. but he's one of those gimmicks. Like I kind of seen it already before, but he did kind of stand out to me tonight. I definitely enjoyed watching the build up for what War Games of the men's site is going to be, kind of the old school versus new school, and I love to see the tease of DIY coming back together a little, one more time. But having like LA Knight and Pete Dunne and Gargano and Ciampa be in there, some of the top talent that I grew up with on NXT Golden Black brand. Not that it was very long ago, but those are definitely guys I love seeing, and to see that these new faces being brought up, and they're going to put them through the ringer for sure.
Yeah, the old school versus new school. I mean, we think back to the Royal Rumble a few years ago. It was the one that Shinsuke won, and we had that new school versus old school breakdown. It was like Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and John Cena with Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke.
Yep.
And I loved how that broke down with you had that new school versus old school. It's a tale as old as time, but if you have the right people in there telling the stories, it works. And Greyson Waller should be the oddball out in this scenario. And like in FIFA, Connor brings up this interesting point. Very strange decision to sort of turn Braun Breaker heel. You don't. Braun Breaker is going after Tommaso Ciampa. He's only in there because he wants a piece of Ciampa. But he's a new school guy. He's new. He's young. So he fits that new school side. Yes, the other three guys on that team are heels. But on the other side, you've got two heels and a baby face in Tommaso Ciampa. Like Daddy Ciampa plays both sides. So it's one of those things where it's like, you're not really turning Braun. You're putting him with where he belongs, which is this new school. And I really think the new school has to go over. Like if this is 2.0 and you're putting them on, you're putting this whole new developmental system and back to basics and everything else, there's no way that the old school goes over in this match, in my mind.
Especially is it like half of them have to renew their contract soon?
Yeah, I kind of want to. I want to agree with you. Like, I want to disagree and say, I want to see the old school win, but I agree. Like, with a lot of the people that aren't going to be re-signing contracts, you're going to want to see these new talent being put over. So, I could definitely see them doing that in this War Games match.
And going off of that comment, we have Connor's comment here, and me and Astrid had even talked about this earlier today when we were setting up ideas for the show, not knowing exactly who we were definitely having as a co-host. We talked about a report from Dave Meltzer. No, we knew you were available, but we always know to put more feelers out than we have actual answers. Because we can always kind of finagle things.
I know I'm expendable. No.
No.
You're not. We never said that.
I'm on the next cut list. I know it.
No.
I've got a much different cut list, and it involves things with flags. Anyways, but no. Do we think this is Gargano's send-off? Dave Meltzer put out the report today, kind of confirming things that Sean Ross Sapp has said in the past. That December 3rd is essentially when Johnny Gargano's contract runs out. He's most likely signed a handshake deal to at least work. Obviously, he signed a handshake deal to work War Games. We can tell that now. Like, they set up this match. He's working the War Games match on the 5th. Could it be like Adam Cole? Could he have signed a handshake deal? Hey, I have no problem working this last date. Y'all have been good to me. I've been good to you. We're just going to go ahead and have one more barn burner and then call it a day.
I'm hoping so. I know the cliche around here is, I want to see them in elsewhere. Yeah, my future endeavors. Oh boy, they're bleak. I want to say, what everybody else wants to say. I hope he goes to AEW, but wherever Johnny goes, he's going to be a top talent. And even if he were to stay in NXT, he's going to be a top talent. So, is it his future are his future endeavors with WWE NXT, or are they elsewhere? Hopefully, this is his swan song.
If he's going out, this is a hell of a way to go out. If he's going anywhere, I mean, I've heard a couple people say this, and I know Tom's been, putting it out there in the world. Impact is making plays for a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Gargano, Impact Wrestling right now.
Be a huge pick.
I mean,
huge get.
Talk about the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, versus Johnny Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me that won't sell pay-per-view buys.
Can we call him Johnny Impact, or is that already taken?
I think somebody else used to go by that name. I think we'll leave that one. Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Impact Wrestling, maybe?
Johnny Impact Wrestling, yeah.
Johnny IW.
Okay.
Johnny IW. I don't know. But if he stays, if he leaves, I hope he stays because I love watching him in NXT. If he leaves, good for him. He's got a family coming, and he can go somewhere and make a bunch of money and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I prefer to see him in Impact because I think that there's more for him there.
Mm-hmm.
They tape, so it makes it easier for him to not have to travel as much. It can keep him closer to Candice during this particular time in their lives. But if he goes to AEW, God, the dream matches there are endless too. Johnny versus Speedball, Mike Bailey, yeah. Wordsmith definitely bringing it up there. Ashley, what about you? What do you think?
I'm in between about it, to be honest, because it's just like, why would they have for him at the main roster, or in NXT LC, get him having a plan? But if they put him in the main roster, you can already tell they don't have like particular plans. They just go by what happens day to day. And in AEW, I feel like I love AEW, but I feel they're overcrowded at this point. So if he does go, how would they highlight him on a weekly basis? It'll be challenging. With Impact, I think it will make me tune into Impact more often if I have Johnny Gargano over there. Why not? And if Candice returns later on, adding her with him in there, that would be awesome, especially with all the dream matches we could have on her end as well. But I've been in between about it. I want to see what happens with him, but I'm just like, I don't know where I would want him at this point.
Interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see the future of Johnny Gargano. No.
Bad wordsmith.
That is not the way.
And I gave you a plug. But actually, you did. You hosted. The show went off the rails. That's normally my fault, and it was continuing to be my fault. If Johnny and Candice leave, what happens to Indy? They just continue doing the Indy Dexter stuff. Like they've done such a good job telling these stories that you can continue telling Indy and Dexter without Johnny Gargano, without Candice LeRae. You don't need them in the story. Dexter can still keep doing all his Dexter things.
What happens if they have a divorce gimmick? A divorce storyline? Because that's, it's inevitable because they're going to eventually split them up. So, and you know it, I know it,
You've just broken Astrid's heart, by the way.
I'm so sorry, but it's, WWE's...
I don't need that kind of negativity in here, okay?
WWE's in the business of breaking hearts. We've seen that over the past couple months. So, how long until we see a divorce gimmick between these two?
Oh, Astrid's accidentally kicked Alex out of the screen.
I'm so sorry. I'm here to ask the real questions.
Well, the real questions is, we asked it the other night on the Survivor Series show, but we're going to ask you again. Alex, tell us the things that you're excited to be doing on your own personally and here with Love Wrestling in the year 2022 when you return. Well,
Jesus, give me the big screen. I hope to do more interviews. I hope to do more stuff like this, get my opinion out there. I love wrestling. I talked about this earlier in our little Slack chat together. I love wrestling. I love talking about wrestling. I love talking to people about wrestling. So I hope to be out there more talking to you, the fans, or anybody in the chat with us, or just anybody that will have me sit down with them and talk. Maybe even see me around my local independent circuit in Indiana, getting out and getting to interview some of the top talent that's around here, showcasing some of the big names that are around here, as well as I want to bring back my Love Wrestling Figures show, which you can go onto YouTube right now and see past episodes. But right now I am the producer for Between Two Beards, and I believe you can see me there tomorrow too. I don't know if I can mention what's going on, but is a special pre-Thanksgiving show. So make sure you tune in at 8 o'clock, I believe, is the special start time.
8:30?
8:30 is the special time.
Something
Well, I
like
think
that?
it's something like that. 8:30. So make sure you tune in. Pluggo and JPJ are two amazing men. Besides that, I will be back here next week if they let me, or if I've been kicked to the curb already. But I will also be watching War Games, so maybe you'll see me here as well for that. And in the future, there's supposed to be a Royal Rumble. I think there's always a room for a mystery entrant, which is not going to be me. I'm nowhere near the caliber of being in that match. But I will be here for potentially a watch-along. A little bit of spoiler for you. So make sure you stay tuned in right here to Love Wrestling. And make sure you stay tuned into my Twitter at EctoGuy87, where you can find whatever I'm talking about.
Oh no, not me. No, I'm kidding. No, I'll be here on Tuesdays like usual, NXT with Ed, and maybe Cody if he returns next week. Maybe reacts like usual. But yeah, hoping for more interviews for next year. I haven't done much because I've been working a lot. But thankfully I'm off this week, so I've been able to host this week, finally. But no, I want to thank Cody and Ed for always believing in me and wanting me to co-host for a while. So I finally did it. So you guys can stop nagging me about it now. Thank you very much. And if anything, you can see on my Twitter, be tweeting all about wrestling that I'm watching through the week.
And you can catch me here co-hosting with Astrid and Cody on a normal basis when he's not on assignment. You can find me at edfries12584 on Twitter. You can find me moderating the Tom Collihue Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Tom Collihue. But more importantly, you can find me here on twitch.tv/LoveWrestlingCA. You can find us all at youtube.com/LoveWrestlingCA to catch this show in its entirety. We are on the verge of 1,000 subscribers, so if you're not already subscribed, please go and subscribe so we can blow Spencer's mind and try to do that by the end of the week. We have all kinds of wonderful things if you want to support us financially at lovewrestling.ca/shop. Not merch, but shop. I wonder if he's still here or not. And always go talk to our sponsors, RK Athletics 1. I know Chris Parrish didn't get the best of Rich King this weekend in a tag team match against Rich King of RK Athletics. But Rich does some fantastic work with virtual workouts and in-person workouts. So if you're in the Edmonton area, go ahead and check out Rich King doing that. If you need some virtual workouts, you can go ahead and hit him up at RK Athletics 1, and they do some of that fun stuff. There's a lot of comments that I haven't seen, so let's go ahead and take a look at what's been going on. I am here. I know what it is. I know, but it was just great that you did a promo for us. And the wrong way. Oh, we love you, Wordsmith. We do. Cody's in here saying the big star. And it is because you are a big star. Alex, we apparently need to do some Among Us again.
I agree.
Ashford, you did a great job. Parrish telling us that he was punched in his perishables, not nice. I have been asked to play something, so I'm going to look and see if it is in here. Give me one moment. We're going to play a word from our own wordsmith before we head on out of here.
Consumerism is quite the satanic majesty, isn't it? Well, we're not shy here at lovewrestling.ca. I'll tell you what. I'll tumble for you. I'll tumble for you. But you know what won't tumble? Your lovewrestling.ca wine tumbler. And where can you get it? I hear you ask. Off camera, I suppose. You can get it right here on lovewrestling.ca/merch. Cheap plug, I know, but it just makes things taste so damn good.
We love the wordsmith, and thank you for our little commercial for our Love Wrestling tumblers, which, yes, you can catch at lovewrestling.ca/shop. With that, we're going to go ahead and call it for a night. Thank you, Alex, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Astrid, thank you for giving me the night off from hosting and doing production at the same time.
You're welcome.
And with everybody, enjoy NXT. Get ready for War Games, and we'll be back next week love wrestling.